Hey yo, Artifam, what is up? This is Artifact News coming to you with an Artifact News feature on the fabled drip token. Keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. You need to do your own research. We're in the middle of a very serious bear market out here. Money's going to be hard to come by for a while, and smart moves need to be made at this point. This video is not to cause hype or FOMO or to get you to purchase artifact items whatsoever. This is really to help further establish the value proposition for investing in CloneX in the first place. And the drip token, I believe, is one of the core foundations to the value proposition for the CloneX community. So in this video, one of the first things we're going to talk about is the current evidence that we have that there is going to be a token. We're going to pull some information from Twitter and Discord and just analyze all of that. And second, we're going to cover some of the projects that have successfully launched tokens at this point. We're going to look at their distribution methods and maybe analyze how Artifact might choose to distribute their token. Lastly, we're going to dive into some overall pros and cons of releasing a token at this point for the Artifact community. You know, because at the end of the day, we're all just really asking one question out here. When will that drip drop? Let's go. All right, so what concrete information do we have about the drip token? Well, let's dive into it. Okay, so this was one of the landmark events, I would say, in drip token history right here. Boom. This is in Discord. This is September 22nd, 2021, so this is quite a while ago. You can see Zap here. Wait for our token. Oh man, that was like a bomb right there. That's some serious information. You can see we got the Smarmy Bum, we got GHMC, and we got Hondro, and they're freaking out about it. And then Zap followed through with the been in the works since the start of the year, meaning around January 2021. So they've been working on that token for quite a while. Now here's the thing. Does this necessarily mean that there definitely will be a token released? No, I don't think it means that. Since then, there's been a lot that's changed, including a Nike acquisition. I mean, granted, maybe the Nike acquisition was in the works before all of this, but we don't really know that. We do know that sometimes people can change their minds, and if somebody like Nike acquires you, possibly there's new hurdles or maybe some plans changed. So anyway, this is a good indicator that they have been working on it clearly, but we can't say 100% that there definitely is a token based on this information alone. But Zap then, he kind of followed it up with something once more. Lozano.eth asked, when Artifact token? To which Zap responded, soon, Diamond Hand. Now this was around the same time, so this is October 19th, about a month later, 2021. So I don't know, maybe around that time things were looking really good for the token, but you know, once again, still, this doesn't necessarily mean that there's one in the works, but to just flat out ignore this would be a little bit crazy too, because there definitely have been strongly considering it, let's just say that. So another epic moment in drip token history is when Benoit named the token, basically. So we can thank Riddler for this when he asked, so what will the Artifact Studios token be called? Nike or Clone or something else? And then Domain asked Benoit specifically, when token? Benoit just went ahead and straight up named it, the drip token, which was, he killed it. Like, that was a great name. There was a lot of us in there guessing and just putting in names all over the place. But man, when he dropped that, it was like, yep, that's it. That's the name. It just felt right and it looked great. So, but here's the thing, like, does that necessarily mean 100% sure that it's gonna be called the drip token? Like, I don't think it does. You know, again, this was March 18th, so it's still, you know, quite a while ago. I mean, things could have changed, anything could have changed. And you know what? I don't like to hold the founders to just strict, you know, guidelines on whatever they say. I like it when they're a little playful and they feel like they can just say whatever. I mean, Benoit was in here having some fun with us and just dropped the drip thing. Like, who knows? Maybe it's for sure, maybe it's not. But I don't know. I mean, One thing that really made me want to do this in the first place was the community interest. So this was a poll that I took. This poll got some of the most votes of any poll that I dropped. This is 234 votes. This one says, if you could have more information on one topic related to Artifact, what would you choose? And by an overwhelming majority, 57%, Artifact token, drip. Granted, like, are these exactly the right options to compare it to? Pod burning, I think that's really important. People want to know about that. The evolution of the crypto dunks, that seems like that's really important. And a lot of people invested in those dunks. I mean, and then the marketplace, which is like gigantic. Like, how are you going to sell your dunks and your NFTs and all of that? Like, the marketplace, it could be a huge deal for all of us. That came in at about 8%. Drip token dunking on it at 57%. So, like, I think clearly the community is trying to speak here and say, hey, we want to know what's up with the drip token. So, like, that's why we do this video, right? So that's some stuff that we do know about the drip token, right? We know that one of the founders definitely said that it's been in the works since early 2021. That's a huge piece of news. We know that another founder went so far as to actually name the token. That's great. And we know that the community is super interested in the token overall. So that's basically the information that we really know, but there is one other thing too. There was a recent interview with Farouk from Rug Radio. He interviewed all three founders, and in the interview they talked about a move to earn concept. And they said it was coming sooner than we would expect, which is crazy, right? Because that, I mean, what are we earning? It has to be drip token, right? Or some form of token. Hey, maybe it's hoodies, man. Maybe we're earning more hoodies, right? Like, who knows? But it seems like it's gonna be the token. And man, that could be coming sooner than we think. I mean, but this is all speculative, right? I'm just trying to show you what we do know and catch you up. And that's all I got. So now, the next section, we're going to talk about two projects that have recently dropped tokens successfully. And then we'll look at some of the good and bad and how it affected their communities from there. All right, here we go. Okay, so now that we've covered some of the stuff that we do know about the token currently, let's look at two projects that have successfully launched tokens currently or in the past. Okay, so like, you can't even talk about a token really unless you want to talk about Cyberkongs and ApeCoin. Let's go. Okay, so this is the OG right here, right? This is Cyberkongs. I believe, okay, like in crypto, you never know. There's always somebody that did it first. In my opinion, I believe it was Cyberkongs that popularized the utility token with their banana token. Okay, so what was this really? They had 1,000 Genesis Kongs. So it's a little departure away from the 10,000 piece collection. But there was 1,000 Genesis Kongs, and they were going to migrate over to a new chain. And if you migrated, your Kong would earn 10 bananas per day. So what would that be worth? I mean, what could you do with it? Well, here you can see anything that's marked with banana is something that you could do with it. So that included setting a story for your Kong, kind of like a backstory or something, which is pretty innovative and cool. You could rename your Kong. That's interesting. I think most valuable was that you could breed 2 Genesis Kongs if you had 2, which is kind of a tall order. There's only 1,000 of them. They're pretty expensive. But if you did, then that would create an incubator, which would give you 1 baby Kong and 1 VX mint. And both of those ended up being very valuable down the road from here. So yeah, that was basically what you would get from the banana token. Those were the sinks. And let's take a look at some of the price action that this caused. Okay, so let's look over time. Right now, it's at 61 cents, which is a far cry from where it has been. So let's check it out. Like, imagine that you're a Cyberkong holder, right? And you're getting, at the very beginning, $7 and let's say around 80 cents per day. Or actually per token, right? So you get 10 tokens per day, that's $78 per day. I mean, that's pretty good. What is that? 78 times 30. I mean, that's $2,300 a month. So like right away when that happened and everybody realized what the meta was, boom, Cyberconk's floor took off, right? Because I mean, that's $2,300 a month. I mean, that's a lot of money, man. So I don't know. And as you can see here on this chart, let me try to zoom in a little bit more. That's actually going to be as far as we're going to go. But as you can see, $45 here. I mean, $45. Could you imagine like 10 bananas per day at $45 each, $450 per day. I mean, that's $13,500 per month. So obviously totally ludicrous. I mean, is that really gonna last long? I mean, no, that's the short answer, and it didn't. But before it came down to where it is now, I mean, it peaked out at $105 at the top. People must have been losing their minds. Could you imagine if you owned like 1 or 2 Cybercongs and you get $105 per day? I mean, I don't know. That's times 10 times 30. That's $31,500 per month, man. That's like out of control. So it was out of control actually, because quickly, boom, everyone sold it. But then it kind of, it just slowly made its way down here over months. So like there was months there where people were earning hundreds of dollars per day just holding on to their Cybercongs, and the price of Cybercongs was, I don't know if you remember, but the floor price was crazy. It was in the hundreds of thousands, 200,000. It seemed like the future for real. But like as you can see here from this thing, it's come all the way down to the 60-cent which is where we're at now, which is $6 per day, $180 per month at the moment, which isn't great, right? But still, there were months there where people were just banking. And like if I had to guess, like Cybercongs are mega innovators for this, and they'll always be considered that, and I give them major props. I think what hurt them was they didn't have great syncs. At the end of the day, this wasn't really like the meta game that people are looking for. I mean, we're kind of looking for like the next version of video gaming, and this was like interesting, but it wasn't like that next level thing that we're looking for, I believe. Now, does that mean like Cybercongs is over with? I don't think so at all. I think they're still building, and with their legacy that they put down as innovators, I think they're gonna make it, and they'll probably innovate right into something major at some point, right? So props to them, and I love what they did. So now let's move over to the next bombshell, right? Boom. I mean, this was like ApeCoin right here. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but there was a point in time when, I don't know, I was looking at trying to get a Bored Ape. This was before the token announcement, which was a long time ago. And I just remember it steadily just taking off. It was just like every day it was going up. The floor was going up like 2 ETH per day. And it was like, oh God, it's 30 ETH. Okay, cool. Now it's 32, 34, 36. And then it was just like 40. And then it was just off and running. And, it was based on the hype from the ApeCoin, because everyone knew the meta was like, hey, here's Cybercongs. There were months there where people were crushing it, making, $100 to $1,000 a day off of their token. Like, what is ApeCoin going to do? Because they're even bigger. They're probably going to do something even crazier, right? And guess what? I mean, they did. There's no joke about that. I mean, so look, like if you're looking at this right here, Bored Apes. So they received 10,094 tokens if you had a Bored Ape. But like if you had a Bored Ape, you probably held on to your mutant too, and the mutant got 2,042 tokens. And then you probably had a kennel. I mean, I don't know, that was probably like another 800 tokens. But like just from my quick math here, and like it might not be correct, completely correct, but like we're just taking a look at this, like, man, at the top of this token, which no one ever sells the top, right? But like it got up to $23. So if you were sitting at around, I don't know, 12,000 tokens, and I mean, if you nailed the top, that was like 270 grand. So that's like a gigantic deal, right? Like, but even out of the gate, it was, what was it? $8.54. I mean, that's not bad. Like, let's say you had 12,000 tokens. Like, I don't know. I'm not an ape holder, so I don't know exactly how much. But let's say it's just like $8. I mean, That's like a $96,000 payday, like right out of the gate. I mean, granted, it's at $5.72 right now. You know, it's retraced for sure, but like, it's still holding strong. Now places like Gucci are taking it in real life at some of their stores, and they're making moves. I mean, this token's not over with, and it's gonna start powering other communities at this point too, like 10KTF and stuff. So, but the thing I like most about it is it alleviated a ton of sell pressure. Because you gotta imagine, like, you're holding on to this Bored Ape, right? And it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your family has to be looking at you like you are out of your mind not to sell that thing. But you're trying to diamond hand, right? But then along comes this ape token, and it just like provides a ton of relief for the sell pressure. Because now you can just be like, boom, sell that, redistribute it, get some money in, and now you can just kind of marinate on the token, which is kind of what we've seen too, because there wasn't a big drop off after the token release. I mean, not from the floor price of the Bored Apes. I mean, they held pretty steady. So, I don't know. I mean, both of these tokens are really intriguing, and this is just two different methods that we can see for people that from distribution methods, right? And that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Is I asked the community what kind of method that they prefer. And now here, this is one where in the Clonspiracies chat with Cookin and It's Wayne and Sinkami, we were talking about the drip one day and how we think it would be distributed. So like overwhelmingly, people, I mean, this is kind of what they wanted. I mean, this is 103 votes here, and 48% of the people said a daily drip to the clones, which would be like the Cyberkong method, right? And then the next was create to earn, which I do think we're going to see some of that, you know, like people being able to create items that can be sold on the Artifact marketplace and then earning in drip token. That'd be pretty cool. Stake to earn, move to earn, and you know, like real quick, I just want to talk about move to earn. I'm not a huge fan of move to earn, if I have to be honest here, because like I don't know if you've ever played competitive video games, but man, like min-maxers or just high-level competitors, they'll just squeak out every single advantage possible, and it's just super hard to compete all of the time. I mean, if you want to know like how hard that is, like just go play some CS:GO, or just go play some Trials of Osiris and Destiny, and like real quick, you'll learn how good people are at everything. I mean, in Trials of Osiris, like you can barely move before you're done. Like min-maxers are no joke. And I don't know how, other than like having a camera on you, or if Nike had a facility that was monitored by their employees that could prove that you were moved to earning without just working the system. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I don't want to see like the token just get completely inflated because people are working the system. Like I'm done with the whole bot situation. I mean, it's impossible to shop now without using a bot. Like, you know, move to earn could just get either botted or some other kind of tricky scheme. I'm just not totally feeling it at the moment. Maybe there's some other good version of it. I don't know. So here's another look at the distribution method preferred by the community. This is 123 votes here. And I basically asked, which do you prefer? The Bored Ape that we've seen here with ApeCoin, or the Cyberkong's method? I mean, pretty overwhelmingly, right? Like people just want the steady drip. You know, if I had to guess, I would say like people are worried, I don't know, if it's a big splash, next thing you know, the floor price just falls out after you get the big splash. Didn't really happen with the Bored Apes. So, you know, I don't know that that's a huge concern, but like, I don't know, there's some reason. I mean, personally, I prefer the daily drip method. So as you can see, the community does here too. And I think, yeah, that's about it. So that's the wrap up here on two different successful token drops. I mean, even though like right now Cyberkong is sitting at 60 cents, like I think you still have to say it's successful. I think they have a lot to be proud of. Like they completely innovated on this whole entire idea of dropping tokens in the first place. I don't think that's the last we'll see of them. I think they're going to come back strong. But, you know, obviously, like, ApeCoin's just a juggernaut out here, and it's starting to power multiple communities, and it's being used in real life in stores, not just regular stores, Gucci, right? So, like, these tokens have legs, right? And that's partially what's getting us fired up about Artifact. I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like to start earning some drip on the clones. I mean, I think it's going to be a real game changer for clone holders. I'm pretty fired up. All right, so now we're going to move to the final segment here. We're going to talk about some pros and cons overall and some, some things we're excited about and some concerns that we have. All right, let's go. Okay, so on to the final segment here where we're going to take a look at the drip token pros and cons overall, take kind of a zoomed out view and just explore some of the goods and bads of all of it. Okay, so the drip token pros and cons. Let's see. Let's go over the cons first, right? Let's get the bad out of the way here. Okay, so every time I bring up the drip token, which has been often, boom, regulations. Like, this is always one of the number one concerns that is brought up, and for good reason, to be honest, because you have to worry about being labeled as a security in the eyes of the SEC. So I'm not going to go into all of the particulars with this because it's a huge deal. But there is a test that the SEC determines whether or not your actions are deemed in line with the securities law, right? There's a test called the Howey test, basically. And, at the end of the day, the SEC just doesn't want one overarching body controlling this investment and having a bunch of people relying on this one person that could easily just rug everybody, which, I don't know, man, it seems a little scammy to me that they're trying that. But whatever, they need to have better laws. But until they do, operating within the current framework is a situation, right? And, so regulations are a deal. And a company like Nike is going to take their time and make sure that they get that right. Now, like, as a rebuttal to that, I would say Nike is definitely got some of the best lawyers in the game, right? Definitely. They've already got a ton of experience working with the SEC and filing for whatever paperwork would need to be filed. Hey, maybe it'd be cool to be one of the first projects to have a completely verified token. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, regulation, hey, it's a valid concern. So, we'll have to consider that for sure. The next one, which maybe is even what I hear more often than regulations, is, man, we're just too early. And this one, I always push back on this. I know there's some people out there, Vince, and everybody, like, we always talk about this. But, like, yeah, are we too early? I don't know. I mean, we don't have the metaverse yet. We don't have a metaverse. We don't have a marketplace. Even Benoit has said that, like he doesn't even want to really talk about this kind of stuff until everything's set up. I can completely understand that. Like, at the same time, I mean, is it too early? The ApeCoin, they didn't have a great marketplace. They don't have a metaverse yet. Granted, they're huge. Yeah, I get that. And they have a ton of pieces already in place. They already had a DAO in place, which seems like it's like a crucial element to releasing a token properly. So yeah, ApeCoin, Bored Ape, they were on their game. They had it all ready to go. So yeah, I don't know. Personally, I don't think we're too early. I think people believe in the management team's ability to pull off the metaverse play. At the end of the day, that is going to decide whether or not people want your token. Like, if people believe that you're actually going to land the metaverse, then they would want to buy the token whenever you release it and just start stacking, because eventually that metaverse is going to happen, right? So it just really comes down to faith in the team, and I think there's just like no one else to put faith in other than the Bored Ape Yuka crew. I think Artifact's totally like worthy of the trust. So yeah, I wouldn't say that we're too early, to be honest. Does it distract from the vision? I mean, that's impossible for me to know. Like, I don't know what their vision completely is. And they may have just like the totally different vision other than to focus on like tokenomics and economies and that kind of thing. Like, they just really might want to focus on the entire creation aspect of things. And hey, man, like, at the end of the day, you got to let an artist be an artist. You got to let a project runner be a project runner, and they just got to do whatever they feel. I don't know what their vision is. Possibly they think it distracts from the vision. I mean, hey, that's their vision. It's not for me to say. So now let's go over some of the pros, a little bit more fun, right? All right. So the pros, let's break these down one at a time here. Okay. So pro. The first, I would say, is cell pressure relief. I mean, right now, if you're a clone holder, especially like if you just really dig the project like I do, I mean, for me, this is meta gaming. I love the avatar. I like the backstory, even what little we have of it at this point. Like, I just like that all three founders are video gamers. I feel like I trust that. And I align with it. I align with the sneakerheads and just like all the fashionistas and just the people that are in progress and technology and NFTs. Like, I love this whole culture, this whole community. So I don't want to sell anything. And that's a problem because it's all really expensive. I mean, I could definitely do a lot with any of the clone assets that I own, but I don't want to sell any because I like the project. So like, if a drip token comes along, I mean, that's some cell pressure relief, and I can, actually have some liquid to play with and, get involved in some other things I want to get involved in. But until then, man, I'm kind of locked up in Clone X, and I just want to keep collecting, With each additional airdrop, like, I still don't want to sell that airdrop. I want to hold on to it. Maybe that's my bad. I get that, but like, still, cell pressure relief would be great. Okay, also another pro, I mean, if they would drop the drip token, more creating. Like, I don't know what the structure would be. If I'm just speculating, what if it's something like the CyberKongs? But it has legit syncs. I mean, CyberKongs was marinating at like $30 per banana token for months. And I think it was only really because their syncs just weren't aligned just yet, right? They'll get there eventually, but they just weren't there yet. Imagine if like there was some pretty solid passive coming in. I mean, yeah, you can dedicate to creating for sure. I mean, I know, for instance, I could maybe not be working in a cubicle anymore, and I could be devoting way more time to doing this, which I would love to do, right? But like, I don't know. It would help free up some creators for sure. I know that. So also another pro is just the Metaverse Foundation. Like, how big is this Metaverse going to be? Like, there's Cyber City, Artifact City, whatever it might be. Any good video game always has a currency, and you need to establish that and make it strong and figure out the tokenomics behind it. And I mean, that's not easy. They probably are going to have to really hire an economist, or get Horizon Labs on the deal, or like get somebody who knows what they're doing already. I mean, Horizon handled ApeCoin. I mean, I don't know. Like, they're going to have to bring in some people that definitely know how to have a healthy flow from faucets to sinks. And it'll lay the foundation, provide like a really healthy metaverse. I mean, what's wrong with that, right? Okay, so that's just a quick synopsis of the pros and the cons. All right, well, hey, thank you for joining me today. I know it's been kind of a long video here, but it's been fun. And, the drip token, it's just such a big deal. And as a Clone X holder, I'm fired up for the prospect of it. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. Be careful out there. Don't just start absorbing a bunch of artifact items based on this video, right? Like, we're just speculating, just talking. And, hey, I love the community, and thank you for watching the video. Hey, subscribe if you can, and I appreciate you watching. So hopefully I'll have some more videos in the future here. This is a feature, so this is a longer video. I'm hoping to go live and also provide some shorter content, but I thought the drip token kind of deserved this bigger layout like this. So hey, appreciate you watching. Thank you again. It's been Artifact News. Go news yourself.